Hey everybody, welcome in. Jesse Montano, Meghan Angley. We are not at the Guerilla Sports Studios. We are here at the Avs practice facility after an optional skate just wrapped up. We talked to Jared Bednar, so we'll get into some of that. But really, we're going to be going through last night's statement win in Minnesota, which, Meghan, a bunch of Minnesota Wild fans were quick to tell me it wasn't a statement win because the Wild played on a back-to-back. So they felt that game was coming. So don't worry, Minnesota Wild fans, you're still good. We're gonna break that down, and then hey, we are 3 days from Christmas. We're gonna maybe get into a little bit of where the Avs are at the Christmas break. Who knows? Anything could happen in this crazy world. We might get up from this pod and just go see Santa Claus. Who knows? Meghan and I are just notoriously unpredictable like that. Before we get started, guys, I do want to start by reminding you about our good friends over at RefiJet. Did you know that you could refinance your auto loan? Well, with RefiJet, you could save around $150 every single month, all with just a soft credit pull and zero hassle. It's right, lower payments, flexible terms, maybe even some cash back in your pocket from your car's equity. And who couldn't use some cash back right now? And you guys hear me say it all the time. The best way to support us and everything we're doing here at Guerilla Sports is to show some love to our partners. So head on over, refijet.com/sports. See if they can't help you out while you're helping us out. refijet.com/sports. Could not recommend them more highly. They are the faster, easier way to refinance. Hey everybody, welcome in Guerilla Sports Off Ice Monday edition. Holiday, Christmas week edition. We aren't very festive, but hey, that's all right. Happy Monday. I don't even say good luck getting through the week because it's a short week, and then we head right into New Year's. We got the holiday break coming up. Meghan, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Didn't get traded before the roster freeze, so that's good.
That's always a good thing. Gives you a little peace of mind going into the holiday, and that's what I'm most excited for. I love this time of year. I won't lie. It snuck up on me quicker than I'd hoped. Like, I kind of like to revel in the holiday season for a little bit longer, but I'm just going to try to be more present then.
So I've got a theory on this because everyone talks about, especially millennials, like, oh, it's not the same as when we were kids. Christmas doesn't feel the same. Here's my theory on it. And this is now me watching, like I got a couple nieces who are in school and stuff like that. When you're a kid, the entire month of December, from your point of view, everything's about Christmas. All the activities at school are Christmas themed. You have Christmas parties. You have, little things you got to do. And then like all the TV shows you watched are holiday themed. And that's your biggest responsibility. So make sure you don't miss Bluey today. And so just like everything's holiday themed, everything your parents are doing for you in between all of the adult real life stuff is like, hey, let's make this kind of Christmassy, whatever. And so like you're just for a month inundated with the holiday spirit. And then as we get older, we have like responsibilities and stuff. Blech. And it just takes away from it.
The magic is what you make it, though, because
wow, I love that.
I've been conscious to this fact. It's true, and it also depends on how Christmas was modeled to you growing up. Was it made magical for you, and then do you reinforce that magic as an adult yourself? And so you kind of have to make that decision. So, I got the tree up December 1st, and make sure the lights are coming on every night. Added some other decorations around the apartment. Have made some festive recipes. I put on this YouTube video at night. It's like a fireplace and a really Christmassy looking lounge with crackling fire noises. You just have to really lean into it. And though I've done a decent job, I didn't go sledding. That was kind of on my bucket list.
That's also not fully your fault.
I'm really sad about that. Maybe that's what's a little bit of a bummer is it's going to be 60 degrees on Christmas. And
75 today, folks. I love it.
It's beautiful weather, but I love snow at Christmas.
See, if it was up to me, we'd get regular summer and then like spring weather pretty much year round, except for the equivalency of the NHL holiday break. 24th, 25th, 26th, I will take snow. The rest of the year, give me the sun.
I would have liked a little more snow leading up to it, I think. And I think our concept of time as adults, too, it just goes so much quicker in the blink of an eye. So just a reminder to all of us to be present and grateful.
Just a reminder of the never-ending,
No,
unescapable dread of life.
No. Wake up. Enjoy the day.
Enjoy the day. You said something a second ago about, oh, no, when you were saying like putting it on the TV and everything. Yesterday, as we were cleaning the house, stuff like that, I put on a Christmas playlist. So the house, it was Christmas music all in the house yesterday.
Yes.
Again, just trying to festive up a normal, mundane cleaning activity.
No, I love it. I've been listening to Christmas music since October, which is embarrassing for me. And I made my family do Christmas karaoke where we could only sing Christmas music.
And let me out you here a little bit, even though I think we've discussed it on shows in the past. That's what your family does on Christmas, right? Is karaoke?
Yeah, we introduced a new tradition where we gift a song that we think another person would sing, perform really well. We actually haven't discussed it this year, but I'm sure I'll spring it on people at the last minute.
Is it truly a song that we think you'd do well, or is it like it would be hilarious to see Dad sing My Humps?
Since we've only done it 1 year, it was genuinely a song we thought they would do well. But
I see, and I think that's better.
I think because it's going to be last minute, we might get a little silly.
Okay, well.
My Humps.
Yeah.
This has been requested by Jesse Montano.
Yeah, seriously.
Michael.
Yeah, so guess you got to do it.
Don't want to let the crowd down.
Yeah, someone's expecting this. Well, awesome. I'm with you, and I know we're gonna, we spent a few minutes here talking about Christmas
Just
stuff,
scabbing.
but hey, this is also us. Like, this is me trying to shoehorn some Christmas spirit into the pod, right?
Yeah.
It's our best Christmas time. Do you have a favorite Christmas song?
I love them all.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I had this book of Christmas carols growing up, and so I love the classics, right? Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. But I also really love the biblical Christmas songs, so like Away in a Manger, I think it's just a beautiful song. Silent Night, basically every version of it.
Oh!
We're going to get copyrighted.
No, I'm with you. I actually like, this is no longer a hockey pod apparently, I actually like the old 50s, 60s renditions of a lot of the Christmas songs. Like, I don't care for Katy Perry redid this entire, and I just picked Katy Perry's name out of a hat.
Yeah.
Who's the other one that just came out? It was Pharrell. As I was searching through some, it's I don't want to hear your take on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And so I'm definitely a more classical Christmas music.
I do like the OGs. So I do like Michael Bublé. I feel like that's modern-ish versions of some Christmas songs, but I think he did them very well. And then the OGs for a lot of the others.
Totally. And I'm just double checking here, so I'm getting it right. Ooh, I'm definitely spelling it wrong. Oh, and there's no service in here as I'm trying to do this on the fly. Great podcasting.
There have been some modern takes I've liked, though. I'm trying to think. Oh, so Ariana Grande made some Christmas music uniquely.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I like some of them. I like it when someone can introduce a song that gets added to the Christmas rotation, because now you've got this unique standalone modern song.
Completely. And when I was looking up there...
J. Beebs, Mistletoe.
Okay, yes. I'll allow it for sure right there. It is the final night of Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah out there.
Yes.
To all of our friends who celebrate that, and just whatever you're celebrating or not celebrating this month, this week, we hope you're staying safe, staying happy, staying healthy, all that good stuff. It is just a good time of year to reflect on all that. And then you and I were even saying last week, there's nothing that changes from December 31st to January 1st.
Right.
But it's a natural turning of a page that the universe does for you, clean slate, and we just hope that everyone is indulging and enjoying on all of that and spending time with the people you care about.
Yeah.
But final night of Hanukkah, tomorrow's Christmas Eve, a lot going on.
Yeah. If you need a clean slate, embrace that for the new year, right? If things have been a little bit difficult, start trying to use this momentum of the new year for something different. Take advantage of the fact that, like I said, the universe gives you a clean slate to implement it for yourself. Well, Megan, let's get into a little bit of hockey here, I guess.
we're gonna start by talking Avs Jets from the tail end of last week, Friday, right?
Yeah.
Thursday?
It was Friday.
Friday. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, Friday. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk about what happened with Minnesota and just kind of where the Avs are sitting right now. Did you notice Jonathan Taves? Outside of the time that he got turnstiled by Cale Makar?
No.
And that's not meant to just be like a crazy sideswipe at Jonathan Taves, but it was something that I was remembered partway through the game. Like, oh yeah, he's out here.
No, I did not notice Jonathan Taves.
What did you think of that one? Truthfully, Megan, I sent out a tweet right at the end of the second period when Winnipeg scored their shorthanded goal that I thought that game could have been 5-0 at a certain point, if not for Connor Hellebuck. I liked a lot of what the Avs did. I thought the power play continued to be problematic in that game.
Right, to include the shorthanded goal, which just sort of punctuated the concern around it. But otherwise, I think that it was a good win, kind of given the circumstance of aspects of the game maybe slipping through their fingers at points, but getting the scoring then as early as they did in the first, built up the support that they would need to sustain the rest of the way. And I know, the Parker Kelly, like you could point to that and say, depth scoring, that's huge. We were just talking in our pyramid about it is still a skill to get to the right places on the ice, to be able to redirect shots. And Parker Kelly kind of goes undetected. He does slip under the radar in what I think can be a really effective trait of his moving forward, too. Is it's a good thing if people continue to underestimate where Parker Kelly is on the ice and not really taking that into account. But then this is also where I point to the stellar play of Josh Manson lately. And it would be captured if we did our pyramid, in this next 10-game segment, just how good this last stretch has been for him. But I didn't want to wait either, just to discuss not only getting the production that you're getting from Josh Manson, in addition to the aspects of his game he brings on a nightly basis. It's that physical edge, and it just has felt like it's up another notch. And then, of course, the offense alongside it, that Parker Kelly goal born from a Josh Manson shot, and then the Brent Burns goal earlier in that Jets game, feed from Manson. I think it's significant and worth noting then that they're getting this production from Manson. They're still getting that kind of grit and sandpaper aspect of his game, all while doing this on his offside. I think that he's really found a stride, a rhythm, and feeling comfortable playing that way as necessary. And it's just been great to see him kind of hit this high point in his game at this time of year.
So two things. One, when we talked to Josh Manson after the Winnipeg game, he wasn't asked explicitly playing on his offside, but it was just kind of what you're alluding to. Man, the game just looks easier to you right now. We hear guys say the game feels slower, et cetera, et cetera. And, someone said it specifically when the puck was on his stick, and he made the joke.
It's been great. I mean, it took me 4 shifts in the first period there to start to finally realize that I just got to pass it over to Brent, and then he can make plays from there. He's been hot. I think that's 6 games in a row for him. He's a good player. I used to have to play against it in front of the net where San Jose would rim it out and he'd zip it to the net, and it was just lethal every single time. So it's nice to play with him now where I get to give it to him and I let him just make plays up there.
And I just thought that was a great quote of just it feels like he looks more comfortable playing with a guy like Brent Burns. It looks like these guys are playing off each other really, really well, and it is elevating both their games. And then Jared Bednar's comments after the game when he was asked a couple questions about, hey, Josh Manson, and he kind of not snapped back, but he was like, I don't think you guys are giving Josh enough credit for the player that he is. He goes, yeah, I think he's playing great, but I feel like we've seen this level from him before. This is who he is. And I'm paraphrasing that a bit, but he was just kind of making the point of this is the expectation for Josh. And yes, the injuries sometimes held him back from getting there. Sure, has he maybe not always played great? Rotating partners, whatever reason you want to fill in there, whatever it is, Megan, I completely agree with you. He looks comfortable out there right now.
And my call out for him would be, he always brings it in the playoffs to where I dubbed him Playoff Manson. That's just the level he brings it to in playoff hockey.
Got Playoff Nate.
Yeah, playoff Nate, playoff Josh, and he's really effective in the postseason. because of what he does so well. And what you don't always see translate in the regular season is due to availability, injury issues at times, and then just like a consistency thing too. Like if he does miss some time coming back, there's sometimes maybe decisions with the puck that boggle. And I felt like you've seen playoff Josh from the start of this season. And, it's taken a little bit for it to really get to this point. But I think in terms of the intent and the energy of which he's played with and just the availability generally, this has been playoff Josh since training camp.
Yeah.
And that's worth noting. And then you throw in the wrench then of like, and he's been asked to play on his offside, kind of at a later point after training camp. And it really didn't stop him. It was a minor delay, really, from him getting to this point. And so I like Jared Bednar's call out. This is Josh Manson, as we know him. We just typically see it in the playoffs.
Well, and I just wanted to add real quickly to the when Josh was asked to move to his offside, we in the media publicly, you didn't really see a dip in his game. But when we talked to him about it, I love that he was like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Like this is real, and it just, in my opinion, Megan made it that much more impressive. Like what he's doing, it's like,
right.
well, we couldn't tell that it's really, really hard for him.
He's making it look pretty easy, and the mistakes aren't often.
And, again, after that Winnipeg game, he's asked about playing physical. And I don't remember what the exact question, how it was phrased, but he essentially said, like,
I don't think I can. No, I don't think if I knew how to do that, I just don't think I'd be as effective. I think when my game's kind of going, my feet are moving, and it's, creating good gaps and finding me opportunities to get physical, and it's just part of my game.
And I hear that comment, and I just sit there and think about, like, I wonder if the injuries and some of the other stuff that you mentioned there a second ago, like, has kept him from being able to play the way he likes to play, what we're seeing now, what
right.
he's willing to do in the playoffs no matter how he's feeling. And if he's just, he's feeling good, he's got a partner he's comfortable with, the team is rolling, and, like, he's able to just, like, fill that role and play Josh Manson-style hockey. He's not thinking about anything else.
No, and I think Brent Burns is a perfect complement. And so I think a lot of that confidence and trust that if there is a stumble, Brent Burns has his back, is in part due to Brent Burns' experience and their similar playing styles. Because this is purely, speculation, but I would speculate that other partners in the past have required some other extra level of, thinking for Josh Manson, like whether it be playing with a smaller Gerard, like the worry of then needing to be the physical presence represented there, or a young and experienced player in Melinda. In my own game, but also prepared to help out my younger, less experienced partner. And so with Brent Burns, there isn't that added layer of needing to worry about what Brent Burns is doing on the ice, because there is a trust, a comfortability there in the experience that he brings.
Yep, you don't have to be the big physical guy in front of the net because you're out there with Sam Girard, or again,
which isn't, a sideswipe at Gerard or Malinsky when they've been with Josh.
That's just, you put those types of pairings together because, like, we got a guy who can be strong in front of the net, we got him puck, whatever. And then again, you don't want to jinx Josh Manson, but, like, Megan, you and I know he was playing through injury last year, and that he wasn't, he didn't have his full complement of tools to be able to play that he wants to play. Overcompensating in that way. But, again, the game against Winnipeg, it's a game where the Avs, he even said, like, I'm not looking to, like, swing momentum. We have a lead, but, like, hey, if I've got to get involved here after a big fight, like, that's the way I play, and that's what I'm willing to do. And I think it's, you see a game like that against Winnipeg where Connor Hellebuyck's having a great night. The Jets score on a, late penalty that the bench doesn't love. It's a broken play that leads to a tap-in. I mean, you could have really, kind of crumbled there. But for everything that we're talking about with Josh Manson is being the best version of Josh Manson, like, I think that's a little bit of what we're dealing with everybody, where it's like, this team is just calm, in control, and even when things go awry, there's no panic in what's happening here.
You look at the issues of the team over the last couple of seasons, and it's some kind of pitfall in their game, whether it be a lack of trust in their goaltending, they overcompensate then in how they play the puck in front of their own goaltender.
That's so good. That's so good. I'm actually not going to edit this out, and I'm just going to make a hilarious. I'm going to let everyone know. We had a little technical difficulty that stopped the recording, and Megan was like, "Oh, that's fine. I fumbled over old goaltender anyways."
I was trying to say own. I don't know why I keep, and that's probably why I'm stumbling over old, because I'm not trying to say old. I don't know what's wrong with me.
So when we were like, "Oh wait, well no worries, technical difficulty."
We'll get it right this time.
We're not gonna know. Oh, that was so good.
Nobody's gonna know. How are they gonna know? I believe everything in life happens for a reason, and I was meant to say that incorrectly.
Oh, man.
Anyways, how they play in front of their own goaltender, blah, blah, blah. Like, you would see Taves make uncharacteristic mistakes, and he's one of their best, smartest players.
Yeah.
It's little things like that. When Josh Manson is making uncharacteristic mistakes, he's not feeling 100%. And I think this is a testament to the team's health in a lot of ways, and also just the trust in every position too, starting with goaltending.
Yeah. And then I think you see that carry over into the Minnesota game on the weekend, Megan, where, again, like that game against Winnipeg is one where like you had to be sharp on your details. You had to be in control. You had to play till the very, very end. You had to find a way to get through a goaltender who was playing really well. Connor Hellebuyck made 10 Bell saves in that game. It's like that was a game that in that Minnesota Wild locker room before was like, who cares that we played last night? We are here to show we are right up there with the Colorado Avalanche. Jesper said it last time. We're a better team than them. We beat them, so we're better. And we're going to go prove it again here tonight. And Megan, I thought the Avs absolutely took it to the Wild from start to finish on Sunday.
Well, and I think their biggest push was in the first, from Minnesota, that is. And so I think that was hard for them to sustain being on the second game in a back-to-back, and that's kind of how the rest of the game plays out, where Avs met them with really good intent from the drop of the puck, and it only got better. They smelled blood in the water. They knew they had Minnesota where they wanted them, and they just it was reminiscent of the Edmonton game, going back to earlier this year, where they didn't let up, they didn't relent, and it was the result they deserved. And it's a decisive one for a reason. I think they wanted to send a message, and I don't think it's as pointed as at Jesper Wallstedt and his comments after the shootout. Just they see what Minnesota is doing in the Central, nipping at their heels and producing a really great stretch here the last couple of games. The Avs know they're getting any team's best on a nightly afternoon basis. And so it was no exception. Like, the way to get the results that the Avs have through this point with just 2 regulation losses in December, we're going into the holiday break, is because they understand they can't take a game off, a period off, a shift off. And Minnesota Wild's second game in a back-to-back, no exception.
Well, and to your point of the Avs, game from the Avs is because I think it was a statement that the Minnesota Wild want to use that game to make a statement. They just brought in Quinn Hughes. Jesper Wallstedt is this, an anomalous rookie goaltender who's getting shutouts every other night. And again, like, you could tell that there was the growing sentiment of, like, this team's coming, and they're coming for the Stars, and they're coming for the Avs, and and the Avs took that and were just like, we're still the team to beat. That's why I look at it as such a statement. But I want to go back to what you were saying about, like, the Avs matched that intensity. And Megan, what I'm starting to look at and recognize more and more and more with every passing game is that quality that the 2022 Avs had specifically in the playoffs where it was, I don't care what you guys do,
Right.
how you guys play, who's on your team. We can roll 4 lines that are going to make your life hell all night long. The Avs can roll their full bench for 50 minutes on most nights. And there's just not a lot of other teams that can say that. So again, you have a team like Minnesota, they're going to come out with the high compete, come out with the high intensity. But can you do that line for line for 60 minutes with this Avalanche team? And right now, to your point about where we're at and what the record says, I can't remember. I can never remember who said the quote. It was an NFL coach. You are what your record says you are. Well, the record that the Avs have says, yeah, we can play with 20 guys for a full game.
Yeah, because at this point, 26-2-7, it's not just a stretch of 10 games where the Avs have had consistent results with scoring that, yes, you can look to the top of the lineup and expect to see them on the score sheet pretty regularly. But they've gotten the depth scoring where they've needed it. They've gotten the goaltending where they've needed it, and they're getting contributions from the back end. And it's bigger than just Makar Taves. And that's not new to this Avs team, but it's all happening pretty consistently that you can count on, all right, so the Avs maybe are struggling a little bit on the man advantage. The top guys are going to be good 5v5, right? You can count on that. And you come out of like that Chicago-Nashville back-to-back a couple weekends ago where the top guys weren't scoring, but they got the depth scoring. And so it's just been by committee, they can trust everybody on the team. And so it's a big night for special teams against Minnesota, which I think is significant. And just even inside the first period, the way the penalties get called, right? Like, you don't love the Josh Manson interference on Kaprizov, and then Cale Makar draws a hooking penalty. I think the momentum switches after that. And that's where, if that period had a few extra minutes, what the top 6 were doing just to relentlessly control possession in the offensive zone, I think that's why Minnesota's strategy going into the second is to try to bait Colorado into getting off from their game. Hartman, try as he might, whatever.
What? Huh? Why? May?
Try as he may. I just shouldn't be talking today. Maybe I'd be better if I was singing a Christmas carol. So for the rest of the show, I will sing the analysis. No, okay, but that's why I think the strategy is we need to try to put this game back in our favor, and the way to do that is to try and switch the energy a little bit, and it didn't work because the Avs had a lot of other things in their toolkit.
And what you just said right there, Megan, is what it's what I mean when I was talking a minute ago about like the way the 2022 Avs played was where it was just like, we don't care what you do. Hack, slash, trip people, get in guys' face, try to do stuff after the whistle, stretch the ice out, play a box. We don't care. We're going to do what we're going to do. And I tried to get Jared Bednar to give us a dig at Jesper Wallstedt today. And he was like, we don't care about that. I don't care what he has to say. I don't care what other people's opinions are. I care about what we're doing. And I think when you have a team that's as good as this one is, but bought into that message and that mentality, that is a really, really, really tough opponent for other teams. Because like you said, you could tell Minnesota tried to make a tweak there from the first to the second. Let's get ourselves back into this. And the Avs just were not having it. And I did want to build on what you were saying about you had a game a couple weeks ago where the top guys weren't going, but you had your depth contributing. I thought the top guys shined in that Minnesota Wild game. I thought that was that was who I thought the statement was from more than anything else.
Yes.
Was the top of the Avs lineup. Because, that was just from my perspective, you can't hang with us type of game.
Well, if you think back to the loss in Minnesota, the shootout loss, I imagine that's where the top guys felt a little responsible for not being able to finish it out. And that's a tough thing to blame yourself for. But, it even felt like a huge revelation, Landeskog getting the tying goal. Because he had to fight for every inch of ice. And the whole Avs team, really, truly. And so I think this was sort of personal for the Stars of that way then on the Avs, to send that message of being the guys that you can turn to against good teams like the Minnesota Wild without even batting an eye. And I think that's why you get the results on the power play finally coming together, because I think that the biggest difference to me, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, so I don't want to jump ahead into the narrative around the power play, but the biggest difference to me...
That's where we're going next, so just lead us right into it.
Perfect. Yeah. It's one, around the top players, and it's their decisiveness. They are making instant decisions with their puck. They're not even thinking it. And so there is even a hardness in how they are passing to each other. It's almost as if they were passing angry. And so it's not just that they're finding one another, because they typically do, but they're forcing, in the past, the seam pass, it's got to be perfect and it's got to be finesse. This was hard. It was aggressive, and it didn't require overthinking or hesitating too long with the puck, dusting it off for too long. And I think that's why they found one another as efficiently as they did, as quickly as they did.
Well, so to that point, I felt like Meghan, and how many times have you and I been sitting in the press box this year going like, oh my gosh, someone just pulled the trigger on it.
Right.
Because it feels like it's like fake one-timer, fake one-timer, fake one-timer, fake one-timer, force pass through a seam that wasn't there.
Right.
It felt like they were hammering those one-timers. So on the off chance where they would fake it, that lane was open because Minnesota had to play as if Brock Nelson was just going to rip that puck, as if Marty Necas was just going to shoot that from the slot, and suddenly those lanes were open. It has felt so often this season like that fake one-timer on the power play. It's like, I get what you're going for, but when you pull 7 fake one-timers in a row, it's probably pretty easy for a defender to be like, well, I'm going to put my stick in this lane because you're probably not going to shoot that puck.
Right.
And the other thing that I thought was night and day different was they were shooting those pucks and the puck retrieval, Megan.
Right.
They were winning races, winning battles, resetting, reloading, putting more pucks to the net.
And so I think, too, what was giving them trouble is they wanted the perfect play immediately after an entry. And I think what they recognized is they're better off setting up a play after a whistle. And so the only way, not only, but the effective way, the more surefire way, instead of risking a broken play in search of the seam pass immediately upon entry, is to just shoot it. Put the puck on net, get a whistle, get a face-off, and then win the possession that way from inside the zone, now that you're already inside of it. And so that led to, races below the goal line to retrieve pucks and then protect pucks. So there's a little bit of a battle instinct, too, that every player on the 5-man unit had to deploy. And that's where I think, the presence of Landeskog being on the power play, it's bigger than just his net front contributions. He will battle for pucks. And so I think that's what allows them to then set up a play. And it's not trying to force one too many things past that point. And it would usually unfold pretty quickly after that next draw, then, too, after that whistle. And so as a result, I think they just simplified it a little bit in recognizing the advantage that they have in just putting pucks on net. It might not be the immediate goal, but, I get that that's the whole point of the power play, but it's hard to just score immediate goals. So I think they were a little more patient, too, in what they were looking for and how it was going to happen. Yeah,
I completely agree. And I also think, and you've been someone, I want to make sure that you get credit on this, you have been hammering that point of, you have such great net front guys. With some of the different stuff that they've tried, it's like, you have great net front guys. Lean into those net front guys. And I'm with you. I think putting Gabe back on that top unit is not insignificant.
I think it's the quiet difference maker. In addition to, I love that Bednar pointed this out today, but we've seen Brock Nelson off the wall before, and on the power play, I should say, and it just didn't quite work. But it's been excellent so far. His vision and his ability to find Nathan McKinnon in particular is so complementary to one another right now. It's working extremely well. And then Marty Necas, in the middle, what I'm liking about that is because he is such a dynamic skater, when he decides to skate through traffic and protect the puck, he has to be a little bit stronger on it. In that case, he's really effective at doing this, and he can move it in and out of difficult spaces because of this. I like him from the half wall at times because he's got a lot of creativity, but it was too much. It was like, all right, this is too much creativity. We're changing this up a little bit.
You and I were even saying, he feels to me sometimes like Marty Necas, he almost thinks the game faster than he can play it. And he does stuff where it's like, whoa, chill out, slow down there. I just wanted to call out, one, we gloss over it because they happen so frequently, but huge Cale Makar game. I thought Cale was great. in that game, showing Quinn Hughes, who's still top of the Central. And then Nate was great as well, but I did want to key in on Brock Nelson. Before I go to Brock, did you have anything on Kale or Nate?
Well, I just think the Kale the setup to Marty Netchus off the cycle
So sick.
was just like that's Kale McCarr. Obviously you expect him to be an impact player on the power play for the Avs, but don't take for granted what he can do to create down low. After moving, high to low too, it's just so hard to contain. That's where I see Quinn Hughes sort of in that lane to the net, just not anticipating this passing play then down low because of how quickly that cycle unfolded. And it was just kind of, it just kind of punctuated the conversation between both defenders and where McCarr just separates in a class of his own, in my opinion, because it's not as if Quinn Hughes had no impact on the game for the Minnesota Wild. It was just something like that really punctuated the difference between these two players in my eyes.
That right now, Kale McCarr he's in his own tier, and then there's everybody else, and where everybody else ranks, and there's definitely up for debate, and there's a lot of very, very good elite defensemen in that other tier. I'm with you, though, Megan. I just think that right now, Kale McCarr's in his own tier. Brock Nelson, now on pace for 33 goals on the season. Huge insurance marker from the Minnesota native yesterday, and again, comes on a hard pass from Sam Girard that Brock Nelson gets all of. And again, it just continues. He just continues to impress, and he as he settles in and looks more comfortable. My goodness, all the question marks that people had about is he capable of that kind of production? I don't know if he ends up getting to 33 goals, Megan, but you see it, and there's no question now, and what this kind of, offensive production can look like from a guy like Brock Nelson.
I was rewatching the goal. My goodness. He's so diverse. I think when the production wasn't translating for him, it was easy to start to panic about the 2C spot. But there are so many other facets of his game that are so good. That's why I think he is such an accomplished goal scorer in this league. He doesn't score them all the same way. And so he's had some room to explore with being a guy who drives to the net on a line with a guy in Nichushkin who will also do that. And so sometimes it's both of them coming at the crease in waves. And so he'll battle for rebounds, or he'll put himself in a place for a tip in. In this case, it's a one-timer with perfect shot selection. And so I think you've seen the skill.
Finding open ice, too.
Oh, absolutely. And it's born off of kind of a weird play that Val Nichushkin is opportunistic to jump on. And so that's where I love Val Nichushkin's game lately, too. I think if I were to look at his points, he's actually probably strung together consecutive points in games over this last stretch.
I think you're right.
But to me, it's quieter than it's being given credit for. What Val Nichushkin has been doing over this last stretch, I think has really complemented Brock Nelson as well, because they just both seem highly engaged and hungry, and that's where the diversity in Brock Nelson's toolkit, I think, has not only rewarded him in the past, but we're finally getting to see the returns on it now as well, because this is a player, too, who does little things, right? Like little stick lifts, little things defensively, starting in his own end that will spring offensive opportunities that I've liked him a lot now, since the trade happened, but I think he's starting to get more credit for the other aspects of his game since it's showing up on a score sheet.
5-game point streak for Val.
Just quietly, casually, right?
Yep.
We're not even talking about that because this team is doing so well.
7 points in those 5 games. And
in talking about Josh Manson looking like Josh Manson, I think Val Nichushkin looks like Val Nichushkin right now.
10 points in 10 games since he's been back. So after a little bit of an underwhelming game or two.
Yeah, at the start there.
And again, it's more underwhelming because of what we've come to expect from Val. Okay, so looking ahead now, one more game before the actual pause. Roster freeze is in effect, which I got to just give a quick shout out to the NHL. I love that they not only have a break for the NHL, but that they actually put a roster freeze so these guys can't be traded on Christmas Eve and stuff like that. And I do have an appreciation for the fact that you and I don't have to worry about going to the rink on Christmas Day, like folks who cover the Broncos or folks who cover the Nuggets have to this year. I personally, I just think there should at least be 1 or 2 dates a year that it's like, yep, we don't really touch that. It's about, because it's not, there's plenty of people that are like, Bo Nix makes however many millions of dollars, he can be away from his family. It's like, cool, but the person who's selling popcorn up and down the seats doesn't make that much money. The security doesn't make that much money. Media doesn't, it's just, I just think that that's something that should be left alone. But we're about to head into the break. Utah, after such a hot start, dealing with some injuries, a little up and down right now. They're in the thick of the fight. This maybe feels like the ultimate, hey, one last game before the break. Guys are heading home for a couple days. Maybe a team that would be easy to look past. Let's just get this one and go into the break. Maybe extra punctuation on, here's a great test of how dialed are you? How much are you not looking past your opponent and getting ready for every last team as a team that's struggling, team that's dealing with injuries the day before Christmas Eve?
Yeah, well, and I don't have the record in front of me, but the series between Utah and Colorado so far has not been an easy one. I think it's split. Maybe, I don't know if they've played just one apiece or if there's one more game I'm not accounting for. All that to say, I recall them being pretty good games. I think Utah has not given the Avs an easy run at things. And so all that to say, they shouldn't underestimate Utah is where I'm going with it. Just because in talking about the Avs getting every team's best, I think that's definitely a missive that the Utah Mammoth have taken to heart. And so I imagine they're getting up for this game against the Colorado Avalanche with that similar perspective of let's go into the break on a high note. They've had an interesting split 5-5-0 their last 10-game segment. They've dealt with some injury. They come in on the heels of, a win after some up and down results before. And so I think that they want to go in solidly on a win against the best team in the league right now. And I imagine then the Avs, though not really, you're right, they don't need to get into the head of the opponent very much. But they do have to probably keep that back of mind that they're getting every team's best right now. Utah will be no exception, just like Minnesota was no exception. And so it's a matter of a test of their own. How consistently can they really, really push this? 2 regulation losses. Let's not make it 3. Let's not make it 3 going into the break because it's a really impressive record to have going into the holiday, and I imagine they want to preserve it.
Yeah, no, I don't think I can add much beyond that. Like I said, I look at this from the mental standpoint of it, of we've seen this team do a lot of the right things, and I think even that game in Minnesota was a sign of how veteran and how mature this group is. Even when Minnesota starts to put a push back in the third period, the Avs just kind of squash it. The game ends up being pretty unremarkable. I want to see them do that again tomorrow, where it's like, we are so dialed in, we are so proficient at taking care of our own business that it's just another game where we're going to show up the way that we have all season long, because it's just another game. We don't care who it's against or the fact that it's the day before Christmas, the Christmas break. That's what I'm looking for out of this group.
Interesting. Yeah, they've won 5 in a row for the Avs, and after a game where the top guys have played so well, I'm always excited to see what kind of a jump it gives the rest of the lineup. And so, I imagine from the bottom 6 perspective, looking at a guy like Victor Olofsson, who's had maybe a quieter stretch over the last 10 games, this is probably a great opportunity for those guys to have big nights. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm saying Nate McKinnon shouldn't pop off tomorrow. I just always see it as a great opportunity then for the lines lower in the lineup to seize. And I think that it would be great for Victor Olofsson to have a big night tomorrow.
Yeah, he's maybe someone that we should talk about on an upcoming pod because he's definitely cooled off, but I feel like the hate he gets is a little bit more than maybe what's warranted.
He's on such a ridiculously cheap contract for just a year, right?
Yep.
And he's still doing, the right things, playing Avs hockey away from the puck. It's just the production isn't crazy.
But did you expect it to be? I didn't.
No, I actually had nerves around when he was projected for a top 6 role too, because I get that he's done that before, and he's been on Vegas's power play before this, and obviously played up in the lineup with Buffalo once upon a time. And so I think, in the early projections of what he could be in Colorado, I was nervous to immediately pencil him in the top 6. Not really any slight of him, but rather just the other options that exist. I don't know what he's done to beat them out of those jobs. And that's where I'm at is I think he's perfectly well cast in a third line role, playing up as needed when injuries crop up because he does have the top 6 skill set, still there. But otherwise, when you're playing third line, your limits are just going to be a bit more limited, and it can be hard then to score a goal every shift. And that's where I do want to see him maybe take advantage of third line matchups, though, too, and be a threat from the third line out that teams can't underestimate. That's sort of where I'm at with this current iteration of the fourth line, too, is I think they're still doing all the right fourth line things. Parker Kelly getting the goal in the Jets game, it's good, and I kind of just want to see that continue to trend where bottom 6 scoring generally. Doesn't have to be third and fourth line all in one night. I just want to see that persist because I know how important it is come playoff time. And I think there's been a little bit of juggling, and this is where Gavin Brindley has a really big opportunity to make a case for him staying in the lineup full time. So in talking about storylines for tomorrow, that's another part of it. It's I want to see Olofsson get going, but I also want to see Gavin Brindley make a case for when guys get healthier. This is why he should be in the lineup. And I think he's done a decent job of scoring in limited minutes. It's compelling for sure, but you got to see it more consistently, right? And so that's where I want to see the third line be a little bit more of a threat, more of a scoring threat in particular.
Victor Olofsson right now just playing at just over a half point per game pace. And again, not only the things that you mentioned, but the Avs signed him in August. Late August, if not September. So, again, for me, yes, you'd like to see a little bit more out of him, but, trending for close to 20 goals, more than 40 points, again, is
1 year, 1,575.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Right, as long as he doesn't disappear here in the back half, you feel fine about what he's given you, and I'm just not worried about it in the way that I've heard other people.
What I'll say about that too is his baseline is it's not that he's just not scoring and he's a liability in these other ways. He's pretty neutral otherwise.
It's fine.
I will see shifts from him where he is an impact on the forecheck, and I think that had to be a part of his game that he built out starting Vegas, now here in Colorado. So to see him continue to be committed to that side of the puck is encouraging to me. And then the other thing about Olofsson is he does score kind of in bunches, and so it's a quiet period. Reminds me of Evan Rodriguez in his time here.
Andre
Burakovsky, not Tomas Tatar, right? That's the comparison I've seen. I get shades of Evan Rodriguez, who
that's a great one.
You could turn to actually to when maybe the top guys weren't having a great night. You could count on Evan Rodriguez stepping up. It always stunk when his game grew quiet. You just kind of notice, even if you were still getting scoring elsewhere. Anyways, all that to say.
Well, and that one was even more noticeable because the roster wasn't as deep as this one is.
They were so injured.
Right, you needed Evan Rodriguez to be,
Because I still think very highly of Evan Rodriguez. That's just why it didn't quite work out, is that the timing wasn't great for what was needed of him and when it was needed. For
one
Victor,
of my favorite guys I've ever covered.
The nicest guy.
Great guy.
So I bring him up as a more positive comparison to what his impact could be with the Avs. Instead of the Tomas Tatar, may I redirect you to more of an Evan Rodriguez experience where,
That's great.
1 year, 1,575, that's a great experience to be having that with Victor Olofsson.
I think that's a great comparable, and I think that's a great place to stop today.
But I want to talk about the old goaltender one more time.
Full disclosure, Megan and I were talking just before we went live. We aren't 100% certain. There's another pod coming your way this week. We're just not totally sure if it'll be in our regular pod slot time of Friday, or if we'll wait and kind of turn it into a two-hander with the game on Saturday, potentially from Vegas or from the studio. We're not totally sure. More content coming your way. We're just still working through the kinks of what is always a crazy couple of weeks schedule-wise with Christmas, then New Year's. No one really knows what's going on.
But it's fun.
But it's fun. So we're going to get out of here for today. She's Megan. I'm Jesse. Thank you guys so much for watching. If there's a game tomorrow, so you will be hearing from us. Yeah. But if for any reason you don't, I know I'm speaking for Megan and everyone at Guerilla Sports. Wish you guys a very Merry Christmas, very happy holiday season, happy Hanukkah. Tonight, final night of Hanukkah. And we just can't this is the third year that I've done this for Guerilla, and I still can't find the right words for what it means to me and to all of us that you guys would show your support to us. Megan and I met a few years ago just like wanting to talk some Avs.
Yeah.
And so it
What an unlikely crew.
What an unlikely crew. And, it's not easy every day. There's days where it's really frustrating. There's days where it's hard. There's days where, we get upset with other people, upset with ourselves. But, at the end of the day, we are really lucky to be able to do this job and to have you all listening to it. So I know it means the world to me. That's one of the greatest gifts that I can give is that that I can get people supporting us and showing some love to us. So I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that. I don't want to dominate, but I just know it means the world to us.
No, that's a good message.
Good message. Thank you all. Happy holidays to you, everyone you love, and we hope that you're spending time with all those folks this time of year. From everyone at Guerilla Sports, thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.